And so if you've watched this video and watched Joe Fazer's video and you haven't said to yourself, well, cookbook hell, this is scary, then what's wrong with you? Coach Greg and Joe Fazer made a video outlining the dangers of anabolic steroids. He explains how it's becoming more prevalent than ever before, and it's time to do something about it.
You see, over the past several years, I put everything into trying to get bigger, trying to get stronger, and ultimately trying to look better. And every year, I get less and less satisfied with how I look. And it's a problem I can't control.
Exactly. Everyone gets into bodybuilding trying to add in more muscle, thinking, well, if I only put on that muscle, if I only get that shredded physique, I'll then be happy. Quite the opposite happens. The better you look, the worse you often tend to feel. And the reason for that is when you start working out, you start comparing yourself to other people. You go to Instagram, you see all the amazing physiques, and you're thinking, well, I don't look like that. And so the bigger, leaner you get, the more your standards increase. And so you're never going to be happy. And so at one point you say to yourself, I have to use steroids. How am I going to get that physique? I certainly can't do it natural. We're watching movie stars making transformations. Look at The Rock, Black Adam, guy looks incredible, 50. And we're thinking, well, I can't do that. I need to resort to steroids. And with a bike race coming up, I'm going to be taking 3 of my GO2 Max to maximize my cardiovascular performance, as well as 3 of my Ecti Builder, formerly known as Turk Builder. That with 1 1/4 scoops of hardcore stim pre-workout, gonna get me more amped than last time, gonna give it 100%. Huge race coming up.
Constantly, day in and day out, consuming content. Every new account I turn to is a photo of some ripped, carved like a god man, and I can't help but compare myself, which ultimately leads me to being dissatisfied. And I'm not alone on this.
And when he says I'm not alone on this, in fact, the majority of lifters feel like this. The amount of people who are dissatisfied with their bodies, that they don't like the way they look, it's almost everyone. Name one person that says, I love myself. I love everything about it. Everything about me, amazing. Not many. And even if you do say that, people are going to say, oh, you're a narcissist. You like your body? Oh, shame on you for being happy with everything you got.
Who just want to look like their idols, who want to look like these unrealistic people. And what does this a lot of the time lead to?
Anabolic steroids.
Anabolic steroids.
Steroids. Using steroids.
And so imagine the average age using steroids, 20 to 24. When I was 20 to 24, I never thought I would ever touch a single steroid. Was 100% against this. And when I was growing up, a teenager, all we saw were famous athletes, Lyle Alzado getting brain cancer, saying steroids did this. Ben Johnson's eyes were yellow. We were scared. Steroids to us, it was something we would never touch. It's dangerous. Hardly anyone would ever do that. And if you do, you're absolutely a cheater. Fast forward a few decades and more people coming out saying, no, it's okay. You can use steroids. Just make sure you have a PCT, take some liver support, and you're good. And aside from those initial side effects, you know what I'm talking about. The moon face, the acne, gynecomastia. People are saying, oh, it's not that bad. I can deal with that. But what they don't realize is the long-term damage being done when you're using anabolic steroids. And so when you're young, you feel invincible. You're thinking, it won't happen to me. How many of you have felt that way? We all have. But the problem is the long-term side effects. Steroids don't typically kill you upon your first dose or on your first cycle. It's the repeated dosing, doing it year after year. The long-term dangers. These long-term dangers include things like strokes, cancer, heart attacks, and of course can cause an early death.
How many people, if you could put a figure on it, in your gym have dabbled in some way with anabolic steroids?
And in case you're wondering, only a little over 1% of the population is actually using steroids. But if you have 1 billion people in your country, that's 10 million people using steroids. And so in a country like the United States with over 300 million people, there's probably 3-4 million people using steroids. And you're thinking, yeah, but it's only 1%. That's not much. That's just 1 out of 100. But that's as a population as a whole. But there's not many kids and grandmas using steroids. But what about at your local gym? You know, people are actually working out. How many do you think are using steroids?
Probably in my gym personally, there's probably out of the men, I think it would be 20% of the guys have dabbled in something or done something, yeah.
And 20%, that's just what he thinks there is. There's a lot of people who don't even look like they've never lifted a weight in their lives, and they're on PEDs. And so you can't tell just by looking.
And as seen through this graph, by about 2010, the number of steroid users gradually increased every year. And on top of that, the social media platform Instagram was released in 2010. Is that a coincidence?
And so perhaps it's a coincidence, perhaps it's not. Maybe people go to Instagram, they see more jacked competitors and they want to take PEDs because they're feeling inferior. Or it could be just that they're more readily available. You can go quite literally on the internet, type in SARMs, and it can be mailed to your door.
What made you decide to originally hop on steroids?
Yeah, so I suppose you need to accept that, if you want to be competitive, you need to be on steroids. And the way I looked at it at the time, right, I'm going to start taking them eventually anyway. So the longer it takes me to start taking them, the more time I'm missing out on.
And that's what many people think, and I in fact quite say the opposite. Please, if you're going to do them, if ever, and obviously don't break the law and do so only with the advice of your doctor, at least wait until you hit your natural genetic limit. Why are you taking steroids as a teenager? Well, I would argue it's because of this. You see your favorite heroes, Gymshark models, Mr. Olympias, Chris Bumstead and the likes, and you're thinking, I want that. I don't want to wait. And so you jump on PEDs as soon as you possibly can. Instant gratification. But in this case, and in the case of Zan Carver, of which I did a video, TRT at 23 ruined his life. It's not going to always end in glory. It can quite literally ruin or even end your life.
We've got gyno, yellowing of the skin and eyes, rapid hair loss, shrunken testicles, and they're just a few of many. But it's a lot more serious than just that.
Exactly. And what's really odd and strange to me is people are more concerned with the cosmetic side effects, like losing your hair or perhaps getting gyno, acne, oily skin, shrunken testicles, than they are of the dangers on the inside, like high blood pressure, increased cholesterol, increased risk of stroke, heart attacks, and cancer.
Meet Dallas McCarver, an amazing young bodybuilder. He died at just age 26 from a heart attack. His heart weighed 833 grams, which is 3 times the normal humans. And it's not just these big bodybuilders.
And so perhaps many people are thinking, yeah, but I don't abuse steroids. I'm not 300 pounds like Dallas McCarver. I'm not an IFBB pro bodybuilder. I'll just do smaller doses and it won't affect me. Nothing could be further from the truth. Every individual responds differently to PEDs. Some people could take a very small dose and it completely ruins their health. Other people won the genetic lottery. They could take high doses, they go to the doctor, get their blood work done. It's not so bad. But how do you know if that's going to be you? If you take steroids, you're quite literally playing Russian roulette with your health.
That is scary, man.
And so if you've watched this video and watched Joe Fazer's video and you haven't said to yourself, well, cookbook hell, this is scary, then what's wrong with you? What is it going to take to have you wake up and smell the coffee? Perhaps you don't want to think about it. Oh, you're a party pooper talking about all those dangers. Or you're a hypocrite, Coach Greg. You're speaking of this, but you did it in the past. Yeah, but did I not stop? Can you not make a mistake and change your ways? If you've ever done something bad, wrong in your entire life, can you not change? If you're on a steroid cycle right now, can you not stop? Can you not go and see your doctor, get blood work done, and see what you can do to perhaps undo some of the damages? And so this video is not to judge you, to say you're a bad person for having taken PEDs or contemplating taking them. It's to educate you. With knowledge comes power, and if you know all the pros and the cons towards taking something, you can make the most educated and informed decision that's right for you. And so as Joe ends the video, is it worth the risk? Perhaps it's worth it right now, but ask yourself, when I look back on my life 30, 40, 50 years from now, am I going to regret doing what I'm doing right now? And the answer is, you don't know. And so unless you're 100% certain that you're willing to take on these risks, the answer is don't do it. And I know the pressure to look a certain way, and although it may sound cliche, what's on the inside is far more important than what's on the outside. Just because you get that dream physique, you add the muscle, you get the shreds, does not mean you're going to be happy. The better he looked, the more muscle he had, the leaner he got, the less happy he was. This happens to almost everyone. And so if you think that once you get that body, then you'll be happy, it's not going to happen. Work on fixing your inside. You can, of course, be healthy, work on the outside as well, but don't neglect the inside. Ending it here. Looking for natural supplements such as protein powder, pre-workouts, creatine, beta-alanine, Seco bars? Please click the link in the description. Use code Greg, you get 10% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm, watch the two bloops, follow me on Instagram, Greg Doucette, IB Pro. And until next time, I am out.